Let's bring in my next guest. He's former Republican Congressman Darrell Issa via Skype. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us. Before we get to the 2020 Democrat race tonight, your reaction on China kicking out the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post, kicked them out of China, kicked them out of Hong Kong, Macau, means they can't cover the coronavirus outbreak?
Well, clearly China has a short-term problem that goes all the way to the top of their regime. They have to find somebody to blame. They're trying lamely to blame the United States. And you're right, they don't want our reporters there. Well, as you know, they threw a fit when a Chinese reporter running over 100 degrees was denied entrance to the White House briefing room. But this is one of the challenges with a closed society like China. I know one of my former colleagues was saying that, we should make them pay. The fact is China is paying a high price for being a closed society. Well, under the leadership of President Trump and, quite frankly, now finally a bipartisan gathering of governors and mayors, we're beginning to deal with this in a way that a country like China really can't.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to the 2020 race. Joe Biden says he wants to pick a woman as his vice president. The Hill magazine out of Washington says it might be Elizabeth Warren. We know Amy Klobuchar, Stacey Abrams. Those names are being kicked around. I want to move on to Florida. Will Florida Democrat voters decide, yes, this is the end of the Bernie Sanders campaign?
Absolutely. The momentum is all with Vice President Biden. I don't think there's any question at this point that he will be the nominee. And candidly, now that he's made a commitment to pick a vice president who's a woman, he is in a position where he has to pick somebody who's going to appeal to the Bernie Sanders wing. And that really is currently only one person.
Yeah, that's interesting, because if Joe Biden wins, you wonder if the Democrats will still be the party of the hard left, or will Joe Biden bring it back to the center? Because Joe Biden has been in the Senate, in Congress, since Richard Nixon was in office. He saw the destruction of George McGovern in 1972, saw Jimmy Carter, who was not a progressive, lose to Ronald Reagan. He saw the landslide loss of Walter Mondale. So that's what Joe Biden knows. He knows his history, and he knows his past will also come roaring back into view, that he authorized George W. Bush's controversial decision to invade Iraq. By the way, so did John Kerry, John Edwards, Hillary Rodham Clinton. Also, Biden in the mid-90s was voted for Bill Clinton's tough on crime bill. The president signed criminal justice reform into law. A lot of things Joe Biden campaign now dealing with. What do you think?
Well, I think you're exactly right, that Joe Biden, as the old Lucille Ball show would say, you got a lot of splaining to do. And rather than explain, I think that he's going to pick a vice president that calms that wing, that tells them that the future of their party is to the left, in a way in which they're not going to riot outside the convention hall. I don't think he has a lot of other choice. He did not win the nomination in the ordinary fashion. What happened was everybody that wasn't on the furthest of the far left coalesced behind him to stop Bernie Sanders. And that gives him a choice. He can either co-opt the Sanders wing or he can go down in flames. I know Joe Biden. He's a pretty smart politician, surrounded by them. I suspect he's going to try to co-op. And then that becomes what comes up against President Trump is a coalition of the left.
Interesting. Congressman Darrell Issa, great to see you. Come back soon.